was heavy, not with silence, but with fear. Dark clouds swallowed the sky. Not a single star dared to shine. The wind howled through the streets of Mathura as if the world itself was waiting for something that would change everything. Inside the cold stone walls of a prison, where iron chains whispered stories of suffering, a mother held her newborn child. Her name was Devaki. Her body was weak, her breath unsteady, but her arms held the only warmth left in her world. She looked down at the tiny face, so small, so peaceful, unaware of the storm waiting outside. Her fingers trembled as she touched his cheek, and for a moment, she forgot everything. The chains, the prison, the fear, and she smiled.
"He looks like you,"
she said softly. But the man beside her did not smile. Vasudeva stood silent, still, broken. His eyes were fixed on his hands that had just brought life, but could not promise to protect it. "My face," he whispered, with the fate written for him. Because beyond those walls, there was a reason for this fear, a reason for the cruelty that haunted their lives. It began with a prophecy. On the day of Devaki's wedding, when joy filled the streets of Mathura and her brother himself held the reins of her chariot, a voice from the heavens spoke. A voice that changed everything. "O Kansa, the 8th child of Devaki, will be the cause of your death." In that single moment, a loving brother turned into a tyrant. Fear entered his heart, and slowly, it became his master. Not fear of war, not fear of enemies, but fear of an unborn child. Kansa no longer saw Devaki as his sister. He saw her as danger. And so, he made a choice. A cruel, unforgivable choice. He imprisoned Devaki and her husband and waited for each child to be born. Not with love, but with fear and hatred. And one by one, as each child came into this world, he ended their lives. Not because they had done anything wrong, but because he feared what they might become. That is what fear does. It blinds the heart. It silences humanity and turns a man into a monster. And now, the 8th child had been born. Devaki held him tightly, as if her love alone could protect him. "No," she whispered, "this child will live." Outside, thunder roared. Lightning tore through the sky. Rain poured like the heavens had broken. And then, something changed. The chains loosened. The guards fell into a deep sleep. The prison doors opened on their own. This was no coincidence. This was destiny. Vasudeva looked up. For the first time, there was no fear in his eyes, only faith. He stepped forward and lifted the child into his arms. The baby did not cry. He simply looked at him, calm, peaceful, as if he already knew. Behind him, Devaki watched in silence. A mother letting go without knowing if she would ever see her child again. Outside, the storm was merciless. The wind pushed against him. The rain blinded his path, but he did not stop. Because a father's fear had turned into faith. Ahead of him, the river Yamuna roared, dark, deep, unforgiving. For a moment, he paused, not in fear, but in surrender. Then, he stepped into the water, and the impossible began to happen. The river slowed. The waves parted, making a path where there was none. The child in his arms glowed softly, and the darkness could not touch him. Above them, a great serpent rose, spreading its hood, shielding them from the storm. Step by step, through water and wind, Vasudeva walked forward. Far away, in a quiet village, a different world existed, peaceful, silent, untouched by fear. There, a mother slept, unaware that destiny had arrived. Yashoda. That night, one mother lost her child, so another could hold him forever. No celebrations, no royal welcome, only silence, sacrifice, and a promise hidden in the dark. Because sometimes the greatest beginnings come wrapped in the deepest. And that night was not just the birth of a child, it was the beginning of a story that would echo through time. The story of Krishna,